What if I told you that Lewis Hamilton could decide on its own or not in Ferrari, regardless of their performance? And what already has in your hands the future of the car 2026? What has just filtered on your contract is simply explosive. The leaks arising during the summer break have revealed a contract with clauses that completely alter the balance of power within Maranello. Lewis Hamilton did not sign a simple pilot contract. He signed a pact that makes it the structural axis of the entire Ferrari project, technically and politically. The most explosive clause of all, and has caused a real earthquake in the paddock, gives Hamilton the absolute right to decide whether or not to continue with the team until 2027, regardless of its track performance. That is, Ferrari cannot prevent its renewal even if the results do not accompany. It is no accident that this contract has negotiated directly with John Elkann, president of the Fiat Group and true architect of this operation. For Elkann, Hamilton signing is not only a sports bet, but a strategic brand of global brand repositioning. The rampant Cavallino has ceased to be just a racing team to become a platform of values, narrative, and influence. And within that frame, Hamilton is not a pilot. He is an ambassador, a media figure, an extension of Ferrari's business vision in the 21st century. The contract includes much more than money. It includes access to strategic decisions, power over the technical development of the car, and something even more revolutionary, the ability to alter Ferrari's organizational culture from within. The leaks detail that Hamilton has delivered specific documents with internal restructuring plans. Not only does it require changes in the car, but in the operation of the team, decision-making processes, communication flows between engineering, strategy, and operations, and even the redesign of protocols for race weekends. Since his arrival, Lewis has made it clear that he does not want to be part of a Ferrari that fails him. He has not come to adapt to the old vices of the Italian team, but to eradicate them. And the most surprising thing is that Ferrari has accepted. Italian media reports leave no doubt. Maranello has decided to follow Hamilton, literally, as a lighthouse in the storm. Not because they fully trust him, but because they believe they have no alternative. The magnitude of this agreement also arouses hidden tensions. What happens to Charles Leclerc, a pilot spoiled by Ferrari for years? How is internal balance managed when a pilot has more power than some directors? And most importantly, what will happen if this bet does not give results? Because the story has shown that when Ferrari is restructured around a figure, the margin of error is reduced to zero. This first part of history not only reveals a contractual transformation, but a cultural change within the more traditional team of F1. Hamilton has brought not only demands but a management model. And in that model, the pilot is not an executor, he is an architect. Ferrari no longer runs with his colors and his history. Now he does it with the personal seal of Lewis Hamilton, recorded in each decision, each line of the car, and each internal policy. If Hamilton's contract redefined power dynamics within Ferrari, his technical demands for the 2026 car are designed to also redefine the competitive future of the team. In the heart of this transformation is a code name that has begun to generate both expectations and nervousness in the paddock: the 678 project. This will be the car with which Ferrari will face the new technical regulations of Formula One in 2026. But for Hamilton, it is not just a car. It is a statement. It is the physical manifestation of your career philosophy. It is, as he himself has said, a car that must contain my DNA. And when Hamilton speaks of DNA, he does not do it in abstract terms. It refers to each decision, each component, each design choice that impacts driving. For him, 678 cannot simply be an evolution of SF25. It has to be a meticulously designed revolution to adjust to their strengths, eliminate their weaknesses, and maximize the connection between the pilot and the machine. Because Lewis not only wants a competitive car, he wants a car that works as an extension of himself. The starting point of these demands has been their greatest pain since it went up to a Ferrari: the braking system. Hamilton, accustomed to the surgical precision of the Mercedes in the braking phases, has encountered a much more intrusive and difficult system to modulate in the Italian car. The Ferrari motor braking system has a more aggressive intervention, which prevents it from accurately controlling the car balance when entering curve, affecting both its driving style and its confidence to the limit. To solve this problem, Hamilton has started intensive work with Loic Serra, the technical director of chassis, known for his experience in Mercedes and for being a key piece in the best times of the German team. Both have begun to develop solutions that not only modify the braking system, but integrate a complete redesign of the pilot ergonomics, pedal calibration, thermal management of the system, motor torque curves during the deceleration phases, and responses of the brake-by-wire. The objective is ambitious: completely eliminate the unpredictable behavior of the rear axle and strong braking, especially in low-speed curves. But Hamilton's obsession does not end there. The filtered technical documents indicate that it has also demanded changes in the distribution of weights, suspension geometry, and even the response of the steering wheel under high lateral load. He has even made proposals on hybrid motor maps and the behavior of tire compounds based on weather conditions, based on his previous experience with Mercedes predictive software. And there is more. Hamilton has also requested a redesign of the cabin, with an interface system completely adapted to its operational style. From the disposal of the buttons on the steering wheel to the logic of interaction with the engineers during the race. Each adjustment has a purpose: reduce the latency between decision and action. Create an environment where you can make faster, more precise decisions with greater confidence in the information you receive. In the background, Project 678 is not being built just to compete. It is being built as a strategic weapon. Hamilton understands that in the advanced hybrid era, where the tenets are no longer found only in the engine or aerodynamics, but in absolute synchronization between pilot, machine, and equipment, every detail matters. This level of technical intervention by a pilot has no modern precedents. Not even Michael Schumacher, who transformed Ferrari in the early 2000s, had such a direct control over the technical direction of the car. And that generates a deep debate. Is this a genius or a recklessness? Can a single pilot guide such a complex project without generating internal imbalances? Within Ferrari, the bet is clear. They have agreed to yield that control in the hope of building not only a champion car, but a completely new identity for the era 2026. An identity designed by Hamilton for Hamilton with the purpose of returning to the Cavallino to the top. But the risk is very high. If the 678 project does not meet expectations, the entire Ferrari Hamilton model could collapse. And the question that the paddock is beginning to murmur is simple and direct. Will this car be a masterpiece, or a trap designed by its own author? Ferrari's decision to deliver such a broad level of influence to Hamilton has generated a turning point that not only affects the sports structure of the team, but threatens to redefine the identity of the rampante Cavallino. The question that floats about the paddock is as disturbing as necessary. Are we witnessing covert surrender or the beginning of an unprecedented strategic transformation? This assignment of power is not free. Ferrari does it because he has been shipwrecked in his search for a winning formula for years. After the last golden stage with Schumacher, the team has lived an endless succession of strategic errors, broken promises, and talented pilots caught in structures that never knew how to accompany them. Hamilton's signing was in essence an act of despair, and at the same time a cry of ambition. But every transformation brings resistance. Within the team itself there are latent tensions. Italian engineers, accustomed to making technical decisions without external interference, must now share their authority with a pilot that demands explanations, direct access to the aerodynamic, brakes and software departments, and even active participation in the design of the car. This has generated silent friction that, although they have not yet exploited publicly, could do so if the results do not come quickly. This internal dynamic is a time bomb. Because if the Hamilton plan fails, the team will not only lose another season, it will be morally broken. But if the plan works, the impact will be equally deep, although in the opposite direction. Ferrari would not only win again, it would become a new type of organization, more flexible, more modern, more open to external leadership. The DNA of the team, so rigid for decades, would be rewritten. And that, for a structure so entrenched in its own mythology, is a structural transformation. Therefore, Project 678 is not just a car. It is a metaphor. It represents the tension between the past and the future, between tradition and innovation, between institutional pride and the necessary adaptation to survive. Ferrari, facing its own historical limitations, has made the boldest decision of the last 2 decades, betting everything for a pilot, for a vision, for a break. Now that you know the full framework behind Lewis Hamilton's leaked demands to Ferrari, we want to open the door to reflection. Because this is not just a contractual or technical issue. It is a reflection of how Formula One is changing in its deepest nucleus. And you, as a passionate spectator of this sport, are an active part of that debate. Do you think Lewis Hamilton is marking the way to a new era of empowerment of the pilot, where the driver ceases to be a piece of the gear to become the architect of the complete project? Or do you think that Ferrari is making a historical error in giving so much power to a single figure, no matter how laureate? I invite you to share your opinion with arguments, with nuances. What do you think of the impact that this can have on Leclerc, on the internal dynamics of the team, or even on the global competitiveness of the F1? Are we seeing the birth of a replicable model for other teams? Or an experiment that can collapse under its own weight? And if you had the power to decide, would you have signed that same contract with Hamilton? What clauses would you change? How far would you be willing to yield to build a champion car? Comment, he argues that you think.